Good morning. It's Tuesday, it's 11 a.m., and it means this is time for the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM, where we present live weekly performances in the WDNA Jazz Gallery and feature students, faculty, and alumni from Florida International University School of Music. I'm your host today and new FIU faculty, Dr. Russ Spiegel, and along with our producer, Dr. Karen Velaz, we'd like to welcome you to the fifth performance of the semester. Whether you're listening to us at home, in your car, or live on wdna.org/FIU, we are delighted to have you with us. We are having a fund drive on WDNA right now. We're trying to raise $400 for this hour, I suppose, the FIU Jazz Hour. So if you've never donated to WDNA, make today your first time. It may seem like WDNA will always be here because other people will donate to ensure that, but the station needs the support of new members to keep going and growing. Join now with a contribution that works for you. 305-662-8889 or WDNA.org. Today, we are joined by FIU jazz faculty, Professors Gary Campbell on saxophone, Mike Eckroth on piano, and FIU's jazz coordinator, Jamie Owsley, on bass. Gary Campbell has performed with John Abercrombie, Jan Hammer, Michael Moore, Bob Moses, and has appeared on records alongside jazz luminaries Randy Brecker, John Abercrombie, Dan Wall, Adam Nussbaum, David Friesen, Ira Sullivan, and many more. Gary has further been awarded numerous National Endowment for the Arts performance grants and has published a number of highly acclaimed books on jazz improvisation. He has also been awarded 3 Fulbright Scholar Awards. That's a lot. For the past 4 years, Gary has been a member of the Miroslav Vitous Quartet, recording and touring in Europe and appearing on the ECM label. The trio will be presenting a selection of standards and original music, and the first piece we will hear is one by Gary, I believe, called Lounge. That's some beautiful music on a Tuesday morning. Gary, how? Yeah, I think you need to pick up your mic there. There you go. Yeah. All right. Teamwork. Teamwork. There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
I guess that's about the best we can do. So, how have you been coping with this whole COVID thing, performance-wise and in general?
With a lot of angst and impatience. I mean, like everybody, only for us, I mean, for we that make our living and our whole life has been involved in playing music, and that's suddenly really stunted, then it's quite a shock. I mean, not just out of the musical frustration, but your whole life is based on doing something, and that you get addicted to this, the escape into another world kind of. And when that's not afforded to you anymore, you can go a little batso,
Right. And we've been probably more fortunate than most that it's more possible for us to perform here in Miami or in Florida, I guess, than elsewhere. But I know you travel around a lot.
Well, I'm not a big nightclub hopper these days. But in the clubs that were some of the cats were playing, especially the younger cats who really need to work, not just for financial, but to play, to get experience. And that's rough because the people are not always careful in these bars, and almost everybody I know working the clubs, they got COVID at some point, some of them twice. I mean, so it's been very nasty for them, and they're suffering, but, it's then the families to worry about. So that the gig scene, I mean, I live, as it turns out, I live 3 months of the year in Hamburg in Germany. And there was a little work there. They were doing much better a year ago regarding COVID and all that, and the clubs, and even some big venues. In Frankfurt, there was a beautiful concert there, and where they had people spaced and all that. And it was a big room, beautiful piano. I mean, Europe is wonderful for the arts and for artists and everything.
Yeah, are you talking about the Jazz Keller in Frankfurt?
I can't hear you.
Are you talking about the Jazz Keller in Frankfurt?
No, this was actually at a place called Naxoshalle. It's an old factory. But I know the Jazz Keller.
Right.
A good friend of mine is this wonderful saxophone player, Tony Lakatos, who's fantastic.
Yeah, a friend of both of ours.
And he actually we did this concert together there at the Jazz, or not the Jazz, the Naxoshalle. And that was great. And then there's a couple little places in Hamburg that were able to deal with it gracefully, So that was, I got to play more there. And actually, even in normal times, sometimes I play more over there than I do here.
Very interesting. And you are a very accomplished saxophonist and musician, and possibly some of our listeners don't know that you were part of the New York loft scene way back when. Could you tell us a little about that?
Well, I got to New York in 1968, and as luck would have it, I already knew a few people. I mean, I had known Randy Brecker, for instance. We went to school in Indiana together in 64 and 65, and then we went on this big, epic tour for 4 months of the Middle East and Southern Asia and all that. And then when we came back, everybody kind of scattered. Randy went to New York at that time. And then I did some other things. I actually came to Miami with Jerry Coker and Whit Seidner when the music school just was starting a jazz department. But anyway, it was a restless time, and when I realized that having, at that point, a small child, a son, who's now 56, if you can believe that, I was a step removed from getting drafted and having to go to Vietnam. So I took advantage of that and went to New York with my wife and baby. And through Randy and his brother Mike and a few other cats that I knew, they were hanging. It was a great time to be in New York and play, and meet people. And several people had lofts. I mean, Liebman had a loft, Mike had a loft, Randy eventually did have a loft, and there were many other people. This wonderful bass player, Peter Warren, had a great scene going at his loft, and others. And there was also this thing like Studio Rivby that Sam Rivers was doing, and a lot of loft concerts where you would see people that you might not always see in the club, like Chick Corea with Braxton and Barry Altschul and Dave Holland, Ornette, and all these things like that. And playing every day, basically, is what it came down to. Kind of a Spartan survival type of lifestyle, but tons of fun, perhaps a little too much on the fun side sometimes.
Well, it does sound like an incredible time.
It was amazing, and everybody could have lived in Manhattan.
Right. I remember rents were really, really cheap back then, like $150, $300, somewhere around there.
I have a picture on my website of this group that I was a member of that Richie Byrack and Dave Liebman founded called Free Life Communication. And they had hooked up through grants and stuff a space in a big church that was gutted, and they had a dance company, theater and jazz. And we had a space that were giving concerts all the time. And,
Fantastic.
we were making a little bit of money. And with great cats.
I believe
and also
it.
Gene Perla. I forgot Gene Perla had a loft, and Hammer lived there, and tons of other cats. So it was really a time of great times and great playing and hanging. It was.
And everybody was there at the same time. Can you tell us a little about your role at the FIU School of Music?
My role?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've been there longer than I even realized. I mean, when I came back to Miami in '82, I was teaching adjunct because I knew Whit Seidner, who was, of course, things had developed. And so I was teaching adjunct there for 10, 11 years, and then had an opportunity at FIU, who was just starting their jazz program there, too, to have, a little better opportunity. So I took it, of course, and I've been there a long time, and before the building was born or built and all that. So it's gone through a lot of changes, ups and downs, good times and strange times. And I was area coordinator for a while. Now Dr. Owsley back here is, valiantly taking the reins of that thing, and I'm looking to hang on as long as I can, teach people something,
Well, I know that there are some events coming up. I know there's a big concert on October 29th. Anything you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I don't know what the program is, but I know the big band is playing. Jim Hacker, once again, does miracles with the kids, man, making the big band sound good. Mm-hmm. And is going to be featuring Mike Eckroth, Dr. Mike Eckroth, by the way, who's new, a wonderful gift for us, and bringing a lot of energy into the situation. After the passing of Mike Orta, who was our colleague for years,
right,
a big scene with Mike. And so now he's there, and so I think they're going to feature Mike some, and then we're going to do some trio stuff or something of a few tunes as well with this
in
group.
this trio that you have today. The trio that you have today?
Yeah.
Fantastic, because it's really
I don't think,
beautiful.
and also I might add that our drum teacher now that Rodolfo Zuniga has moved to Los Angeles, got a great job out there. We have Ludwig Afonso, who is known in Miami. He's a Miami guy.
Of course.
He's a fantastic drummer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be in town for this particular thing, but that's cool.
And do you have any advice for upcoming Miami jazz musicians? What would you advise them?
Well, this is a tough question for any people anywhere that want to play jazz. I mean, there's many ways to go in the music situation. I would suggest, and people have different. This thing's sort of fizzling out. People have different temperaments in different ways. When I was teaching at U of M, for instance, I had, at any one given time, I had some, Rick Margitza, and Andy Schnitzer, who's a very successful guy. Just as two examples, Andy Middleton, and they have all gone in different. Schnitzer has gone with the more commercial stuff and the Rolling Stones type gigs and all that, Paul Simon, and he's a wonderful heavyweight musician, a great saxophone. Middleton, different route with the Maria Schneider stuff, and he's been in Vienna now for like 20 years or so at least. And Rick, of course, has now been living in Paris for a good time, doing a lot of recording and playing. So it's, the main thing is you have to work and be patient. You have to be in it for the long haul, and you have to really want to do it, because it's too tough and weird and unpredictable at times. So I would just say, I hate to say follow your bliss and all that, but that's really true. Do what you want to do, and actually your best chance for success in the world as a jazz musician is to have your own thing and find your identity. Whatever that is, and that forms as you go. So you have to keep open and take opportunities and filter out what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and make tough decisions. Try to keep your relationships with other people intact, which...
Those are some wise words.
That's a biggie,
Yeah.
But basically you just got to really want it and stick to it and endure.
Speaking of sticking to it and following your bliss, I think it's time to do another song. What piece would you like to perform for us?
Let's do, first of all, these first two tunes we did, the first one was called Lounge, for lack of a better tune. That was a tune of mine. And then we did Tenor Waltz, which is not a real title, but it's what it is. And now we're going to do Beck and Call. Let's play that. This is one of my older tunes, written in the late 70s, really, in New York, and was recorded. I was very fortunate to be playing with some great guys, and some of them recorded. John Schofield recorded this on a record he did called Bar Talk.
Right, I remember that album.
1980-ish, something like that, on Inja, called Beck and Call. And it was a great trio, Adam Nussbaum and Steve Swallow. And to get to hear these people play my tunes has always been wonderful for me, because I learned from that. I said, boy, Swallow's solo on there was unbelievably happening. I couldn't have thought of that. But, so you learn as you go, too. So we'll play that just as sort of a nostalgia.
Okay. And before we do that, I have to make an announcement.
Go right ahead.
Because we are having the WDNA Fund Drive. This is the last
Give the
day.
money. Give them the money. That's all I can
And
give them the
so,
money.
give for the first time or renew your support today. Don't wait any longer. It's the last day of our drive, and that means today is your last chance to get this sweet thank you gift pack that we have. We're calling it the Miami Time Pack rather than the Procrastinator Pack. But it's for the folks who wait until the last minute. It has the two most requested thank you gifts of the drive: the Alone Together t-shirt with the hip and beautiful abstract silhouette designed by Lucy Burrows, and the new WDNA hat in navy blue with the colorful radio designed by artist Juanto. Donate $120 and it's yours. Do it now. 305-662-8889 or WDNA.org. 98.9 FM with FIU Jazz faculty professors Gary Campbell, Mike Eckroth, and Jimmy Owsley. We'll be right back after these messages. I'm Russ Spiegel, and this is listener-supported WDNA. Make your first ever contribution or renew today. Our fall membership drive ends today at 7 p.m., and we need your help to get closer to our goal. You love good music, and we play good music, so invest. Please do your part now online at WDNA.org or 305-662-8889. And now, Gary, what is the next tune you are going to play for us?
We're going to play an actual standard now. Not that my tunes are not standards, they are in my own brain, I guess. But anyway, we're going to play a wonderful Duke Ellington tune that I always love to play. It's called In a Sentimental Mood.
Absolutely beautiful. For our listeners, WDNA is now in its last day of its fund drive. Right now, we are trying to get $400 for this hour. And at the end of today, someone is going to win a Clips Reference Theater Pack. That's a 5.1 surround sound system with wireless subwoofer and clear, crisp cinematic sound. That winner could be you, but you've got to get yourself into the drawing. Your donation of any amount automatically enters you to win. There's no donation necessary to enter, but we appreciate you lending your support to keep quality music, news, and culture on the airwaves for our community. Call 305-662-8889 or give online at wdna.org. You've been listening to the FIU jazz faculty Gary Campbell, Mike Eckroth, and Jamie Owsley on the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM. I've been your faculty host, Russ Spiegel, and along with our producer, Karen Velaz, we'd like to thank our production crew and the staff of WDNA 88.9, sorry about that, FM for today's broadcast. If you would like more information on all our programs, make sure to call 305-384-2896 or simply like our Facebook page to stay up to date with all our upcoming performances. Also coming up this week are the following performances. On Wednesday, October 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Wertheim Performing Arts Center, the FIU Wind Ensemble will have its first concert of the fall 2021 season with the FIU Wind Ensemble and Brass Choir presenting Americana. Also, the second concert of Beethoven, Brahms, and Banter will also be at the Wertheim Concert Hall on Sunday, October 3rd at 11:30 a.m., and more information can be found at fiu.universitytickets.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure to join the FIU Music Hour for more great music every Tuesday, 11 a.m. to noon. Thanks again to our guests, Gary Campbell, Mike Eckroth, and Jamie Owsley. And what would be the last tune you would like to perform for us?
Tribute to Dizzy Gillespie, Con Alma.